Welcome the anointed ones. When the weight of the truth becomes too heavy, even the proudest soul must kneel. Imagine this: someone out there, who's wronged you or kept secrets from you, is struggling to find peace, feeling like they're carrying a boulder in their chest. They toss and turn, trying to shake off the unease, but the guilt has woven itself into their very soul like threads of iron binding their spirit. And guess what? God won't let them rest until they confess to you. Yes, they're practically being haunted by their own conscience, and it's about time they come clean. Studies show that most people who harbor guilt feel physical symptoms: restlessness, racing hearts, sweaty palms, and disrupted sleep patterns, and for the chosen ones, this effect is magnified exponentially. Your energy holds a unique, almost supernatural power, making it impossible for those who've crossed you to find peace. They may even wake up drenched in sweat, mumbling things like, "I really should call them," or finding themselves reaching for their phone at 3 a.m. with trembling fingers. So if you're wondering why someone suddenly becomes eager to admit things they'd rather keep buried 6 feet under, get ready. It's not just a casual confession. It's an unraveling, a spiritual reckoning, and frankly, it's going to be something to witness. They cannot escape the divine pressure on their conscience, no matter how far they run or how deeply they bury their heads in the sand. When someone wrongs a chosen one, it's not an ordinary feeling of guilt that might fade with time. It becomes a relentless weight on their spirit, growing heavier with each passing moment. Amplified by a force they cannot shake, identify, or rationalize away, it's as if the universe itself refuses to let them off the hook. No matter how they try to bury what they did or push it to the back of their mind like a forgotten book on a shelf, the pressure builds, whispering to them, creeping into their quietest moments like shadows at twilight. Every attempt to ignore it feels like tightening a knot around their chest until breathing becomes labored and their heart pounds against their ribcage like a caged bird desperate for freedom. This is no mere trick of the mind or psychological manifestation of their own insecurities. It's divine pressure, an unrelenting force demanding they face the truth they've been running from. The pressure intensifies during moments they least expect it, in the middle of important meetings where they suddenly lose focus, during family gatherings where laughter sounds hollow in their ears, even in their sleep where dreams become battlegrounds of conscience. It's as if the universe has appointed itself as their personal overseer, refusing to let them forget, refuse to let them move forward, refusing to grant them the peace they desperately crave. This celestial intervention manifests in ways both subtle and obvious. They might find themselves inexplicably drawn to places that remind them of you, hearing your name in conversations that have nothing to do with you, or catching glimpses of people who share your features in crowded spaces. This truth infiltrates every part of their life like water seeping through cracks in a foundation, slowly but surely undermining everything they've built since their transgression. Out of nowhere, small annoyances become overwhelming burdens that feel insurmountable. Their patience thins to a razor's edge, snapping at loved ones for minor infractions, finding themselves irritated by sounds that never bothered them before. Even sleep, that sacred refuge from consciousness, betrays them with uneasy dreams filled with your presence, or gnawing restlessness that leaves them staring at the ceiling in the dead of night, your face haunting their thoughts like a persistent ghost. They begin to realize this feeling is bigger than something they can simply shrug off or medicate away with distractions, alcohol, or burying themselves in work. It's as if they are being guided by invisible hands, or perhaps forced by cosmic law, toward making things right. No matter how uncomfortable it may be, how much it threatens their carefully constructed image, the thought of confessing begins to feel like their only path to freedom. That is the raw power of divine justice. It won't release them from its grip until they come clean. The weight grows heavier with each passing day, like a stone gathering moss, becoming more burdensome until movement in any direction becomes impossible without addressing the elephant in the room. They find themselves researching your social media profiles, driving past your neighborhood, or asking mutual friends about you under the guise of casual interest. These aren't coincidences. They're compulsions driven by a force beyond their conscious control. The guilt doesn't remain confined to their thoughts and emotions, it begins to manifest physically in ways that cannot be ignored or explained away by stress or aging. Their body becomes a battleground where their spirit wages war against their stubbornness. They wake up with unexplained aches and pains, as if they've been carrying invisible weights throughout the night. Their shoulders feel permanently hunched, bearing a burden that doesn't exist in the physical realm but is devastatingly real in the spiritual one. Headaches become their constant companion, pulsing behind their eyes like a drumbeat of conscience. These aren't ordinary tension headaches that respond to medication, they're spiritual migraines that seem to pulse in rhythm with their guilt. Sleep becomes elusive, not because of external stressors, but because the moment their head hits the pillow, your memory floods their consciousness like a dam breaking. Their appetite changes dramatically. Food loses its taste, becoming cardboard in their mouth, or conversely, they find themselves stress-eating, trying to fill the void that only confession can satisfy. Their digestive system revolts, creating knots in their stomach that tighten whenever they think of what they've done to you. Some report feeling physically ill when they attempt to lie about their actions or when others praise them for qualities they know they don't possess. Even their breathing patterns shift, becoming shallow and rapid when thoughts of you surface. It's as if their very lungs refuse to function properly while carrying the weight of deception. Their heart rate becomes irregular, skipping beats or racing without apparent cause, particularly when they encounter situations that remind them of their transgression against you. Your presence disrupts their energy field in ways they never anticipated, creating a spiritual storm that follows them wherever they go. When someone crosses a chosen one, it's as if their entire energetic signature is thrown out of balance, like a musical instrument knocked out of tune. A chosen one radiates a unique frequency, clarity, honesty, authenticity, spiritual power, that affects every interaction like ripples spreading across still water. This energy is powerful, transformative, and deeply disruptive, especially to anyone carrying secrets or hidden wrongs. Your energy acts like a cosmic mirror, reflecting back the weight of what they have done with startling, unforgiving clarity. They cannot shake it off because every time they are near you, think of you, or even hear your name mentioned in passing conversation, your presence disrupts their carefully constructed facade, bringing their buried shame to the surface like oil rising to the top of water. They feel exposed, vulnerable, defensive, as if standing naked in a spotlight they cannot escape or dim. This isn't merely psychological, it's a genuine energetic phenomenon. Those sensitive to spiritual frequencies report feeling a distinct shift in the atmosphere when they're in the presence of someone they've wronged, particularly if that person carries the special energy signature of a chosen one. The air feels thicker, charged with unspoken truth and unresolved karma. They might experience sudden temperature changes, feeling inexplicably hot or cold, or sense a pressure in the room that has nothing to do with weather patterns. The disruption extends beyond physical proximity. Even viewing your photographs can trigger these sensations, as energy isn't bound by physical laws or distances. They find themselves unable to look at images of you for extended periods, feeling their chest tighten and their breathing become labored. Video calls or recorded messages containing your voice create an almost unbearable resonance within their body, as if their very cells are rebelling against the deception they're maintaining. This energetic disturbance builds over time like pressure in a volcano, creating an internal storm that pushes them toward an inevitable eruption. Their own energy field becomes increasingly chaotic, affecting their relationships with others, their performance at work, and their general sense of well-being. They might find that technology malfunctions around them more frequently, plants in their care begin to wither, or animals seem nervous in their presence, all signs that their energy is in serious disarray. The only way they can find relief from this energetic chaos is to come clean, to balance their own frequency by confessing, hoping to lift the unbearable weight of this spiritual disturbance. It's not just about clearing their conscience, it's about restoring their energetic integrity and returning to a state of spiritual alignment. Confessing becomes their last hope to stop the avalanche of misfortune that has become their new reality. When someone wrongs a chosen one, It is as if they unknowingly invite a wave of misfortune into their life that grows stronger with each passing day. At first, they may brush it off as mere coincidence, missing an important deadline despite careful planning, small arguments with loved ones over trivial matters, or minor financial setbacks that seem to come out of nowhere. But then the setbacks begin to pile up like autumn leaves in a windstorm, each one adding to the mounting evidence that something beyond normal probability is at work. Opportunities that seemed guaranteed slip away at the last moment, as if an invisible hand is redirecting their path. Their finances strain under unexpected expenses that appear with suspicious frequency: car repairs, medical bills, home maintenance issues that couldn't have been predicted or prevented. Disruptions invade their personal life with increasing intensity and frequency. Relationships that were once stable begin to show cracks, friends become distant without explanation, and family members seem irritated by their presence. What seemed like a string of bad days becomes a relentless pattern that follows them like a shadow they cannot shake. It feels as if an unseen force is blocking them at every turn, creating obstacles where none existed before and removing supports they had long taken for granted. Their professional life suffers as projects they've worked on for months suddenly fall apart due to circumstances beyond their control. Clients become unreasonable, colleagues grow uncooperative, and superiors question work quality that was previously exemplary. Technology seems to conspire against them. Computers crash at crucial moments, phones die at important times, and internet connections fail during critical video conferences. Their social life deteriorates as invitations become scarce and events they attend seem to go wrong whenever they're present. They begin to feel like a walking bad luck charm, bringing misfortune not only to themselves but to those around them. This realization adds another layer of guilt to their already heavy burden, as they watch their negative energy affect innocent people in their orbit. This string of events wears on them mentally and emotionally like constant drops of water eventually wearing away stone. No matter what they do, work harder, plan better, stay positive, seek professional help, change their routines, nothing breaks the streak. They start to wonder if their actions toward you are cosmically connected to what's happening in their life. The idea begins as a whisper in the back of their mind but grows louder with every misfortune, every setback, every moment when life seems to be working against them instead of with them. They suspect this is cosmic justice in action, a spiritual repercussion they hadn't anticipated when they chose to wrong you. The universe, it seems, keeps detailed records, and their account is severely overdrawn. Eventually, the only way out appears to be confession, facing the truth they've been avoiding, and making amends for their actions. Owning up feels like their only chance to break what has become an unbearable curse. The thought of confessing becomes a lifeline thrown to a drowning person, a way to clear the spiritual slate and end the downward spiral their life has taken since they wronged you. In their mind, confession is no longer just about easing guilt or doing the right thing, it has become about survival, about halting the free fall their existence has become. For some, the connection to a chosen one goes deeper than they may consciously know, rooted in agreements made before this physical incarnation began. There is an unseen soul contract at play, a spiritual agreement perhaps made in the ethereal realm between lifetimes, when souls gather to plan their earthly experiences and the lessons they need to learn. This contract means that at some point in this lifetime, they would cross paths with you, make a mistake that would test both your spirits, and then face the ultimate choice to make things right or remain trapped in spiritual stagnation. Wronging you is not random chance or mere bad judgment, it is part of a larger spiritual curriculum, a preordained obligation woven into the very fabric of their soul's evolutionary path. Their higher self agreed to this challenging lesson, understanding that growth often comes through facing our shadows and choosing to rise above them. The contract includes not only the transgression but also the opportunity for redemption through confession and genuine remorse. This is no mere apology they're being called to make, it is a profound opportunity for humility, growth, and spiritual accountability through directly facing you and owning their actions. Whether they realize it consciously or not, there is an invisible force drawing them back to you, urging confession, not only to ease their earthly conscience but to fulfill this higher purpose that was established before either of you took physical form. It's as if they have been given a spiritual assignment that they cannot avoid, delay, or delegate to someone else. Their soul knew, even as it chose this incarnation, that this moment of reckoning would come. Every day they resist, they feel increasingly out of alignment with their soul's purpose, disconnected from themselves and from life's natural flow like a fish swimming against a powerful current. They may experience a strange sense of emptiness that cannot be filled by external achievements or possessions, a feeling of being lost or incomplete that no amount of success or pleasure can remedy. This spiritual homesickness grows stronger with time, becoming an ache that resonates in the deepest parts of their being. They might find themselves drawn to spiritual practices, religious services, or philosophical discussions without understanding why, as their soul seeks alignment with its intended path. This pull toward you is their spirit's way of saying, unfinished business remains here, and until it is resolved, forward movement is impossible. The contract they agreed to requires them to face this challenge with courage and authenticity, to demonstrate that they can choose growth over comfort, truth over convenience. By coming clean, they fulfill their role in this cosmic agreement, finding not only redemption but access to a crucial lesson that draws them closer to their true spiritual purpose. The confession becomes more than just relief, it transforms into a bridge to significant spiritual growth, a moment of reckoning that frees them to move forward on their soul's intended trajectory. It's a step toward becoming the person they incarnated to become, accessing lessons that were always meant to be theirs to learn. They fear your spiritual power to expose them, recognizing that they are dealing with a force unlike any they have encountered before. It is not like deceiving an ordinary person who might accept surface explanations or be easily fooled by clever words. It is like attempting to hide from someone who sees beyond the physical realm, who perceives the truth that lies beneath carefully constructed masks and polished presentations. They sense your intuition operates on a level that makes them deeply uncomfortable, your spiritual power sharper and more penetrating than they initially realized. This recognition unnerves them profoundly, shaking the confidence they once had in their ability to keep secrets hidden. You have an uncanny ability to read between the lines of conversations, feel what others desperately try to bury in the depths of their hearts, and see through the elaborate facades people construct to protect their vulnerabilities. This terrifies them on a level they may not fully understand consciously. The idea that you might already know the truth of their actions, or could easily uncover their deception through your heightened spiritual awareness, eats at them like acid on metal. It creates a persistent anxiety that refuses to be quieted by rational thought or distraction. They fear that any day, any moment, during any interaction, you might confront them and expose the truth they desperately want to keep hidden from the world. Their secrets feel fragile and transparent in your presence, as if they could crack open and spill their contents with a single penetrating look or carefully chosen word from you. They begin to analyze every interaction you have with them, searching for signs that you know, looking for hidden meanings in your words, interpreting your glances as evidence that their time is running out. This fear drives them toward confession before they are completely unmasked and exposed. They do not just fear your judgment, though that is certainly part of their anxiety. They fear the spiritual repercussions of continuing to hide the truth from someone as spiritually attuned as you. It feels like standing on the edge of a cliff, knowing that with every lie, every moment of continued deception, they invite a stronger cosmic force to act against them. The longer they maintain their deception, the more they sense that the universe itself is building a case against them, gathering evidence of their dishonesty that will eventually be presented in a spiritual court where your intuitive powers serve as both judge and jury. Confession begins to seem like the only way to soften the inevitable consequences, to show some measure of respect for your spiritual gifts by voluntarily revealing what you may already know. They hope that by taking the first brave step and facing you with honesty, they might lessen the spiritual fallout they sense approaching like a storm on the horizon. Owning up feels like their only chance to protect themselves from a harsher reckoning, a spiritual blowback they instinctively know is building in response to their continued deception. Their need to confess becomes a survival instinct triggered as much by your powerful presence as by their own conscience. At the same time, paradoxically, they don't just fear you, they deeply respect and perhaps even admire you. They recognize that you stand for truth, authenticity, and higher spiritual principles that shake the very foundations of the comfortable lies they've built their current life upon. This respect is part of what makes confessing so terrifying and yet so necessary, like approaching a wise teacher to admit you haven't done the homework. There's something magnetic about truth that becomes impossible to resist when you're in the presence of a chosen one. It's as if your very existence serves as a tuning fork for authenticity, causing everything false to vibrate uncomfortably while everything genuine resonates in perfect harmony. Those who have wronged you find themselves inexplicably drawn to honesty in ways they've never experienced before, as if truth itself has developed gravitational pull. This magnetic effect intensifies over time, growing stronger with each day that passes without confession. They might find themselves starting to tell you the truth during casual conversations, only to catch themselves at the last moment and awkwardly change the subject. These near confessions become more frequent and harder to suppress, like pressure building in a steam valve that desperately needs release. The attraction to truth becomes so strong that they begin to confess smaller truths as practice, testing the waters of honesty in their interactions with you. They might admit to minor mistakes or share vulnerable stories they wouldn't normally reveal, as if their soul is training for the main event of full disclosure. Each small truth makes the big truth harder to contain, building momentum toward the inevitable moment of complete honesty. This magnetic pull affects them even when you're not physically present. They might find themselves writing unsent letters or text messages to you, pouring out their confession in writing only to delete it before hitting send. The act of writing the truth, even if never delivered, provides temporary relief that becomes increasingly addictive, driving them closer to actual confession. The guilt of wronging a chosen one creates ripples that extend far beyond the original transgression, affecting every aspect of their life like a stone thrown into still water. These ripples touch their relationships, their work, their health, and their spiritual development in ways they never anticipated when they first chose to deceive or harm you. In their personal relationships, they become hypersensitive to dishonesty from others, unable to tolerate even minor deceptions from friends or family members. This creates conflict and tension in relationships that were previously harmonious, as they project their own guilt onto others and become accusatory or suspicious without apparent cause. They might find themselves lecturing others about the importance of honesty while living a lie themselves, creating a cognitive dissonance that further destabilizes their mental state. Their work performance suffers as concentration becomes difficult when carrying such a heavy emotional burden. They make mistakes they wouldn't normally make, miss important details, and find themselves unable to focus during crucial meetings or presentations. Colleagues begin to notice the change in their demeanor, their decreased reliability, and their general sense of distraction. The guilt manifests in their decision-making process as well, causing them to second-guess choices they would have made confidently in the past. They become paralyzed by the fear that any decision might compound their existing guilt or create new problems they're not equipped to handle. This indecision affects both major life choices and minor daily decisions, creating a pattern of procrastination and avoidance. Their creativity and problem-solving abilities decline as mental energy that would normally be available for innovation and growth becomes consumed by managing their guilt and anxiety. They feel intellectually and emotionally stunted, as if they're operating at half capacity while the other half of their resources are tied up in maintaining their deception. The guilt also affects their ability to receive good things in their life. When positive opportunities arise, they unconsciously sabotage them, feeling undeserving of happiness or success while carrying the weight of their actions against you. This self-sabotage creates a pattern of near misses and almost successes that leaves them feeling frustrated and defeated. When the moment of confession finally arrives, it brings with it a transformation that goes beyond simple relief. The act of speaking truth after carrying lies creates a spiritual cleansing that affects every level of their being, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. It's like finally allowing fresh air into a room that has been sealed shut for too long, clearing out stagnant energy and replacing it with the vitality that comes from authenticity. The physical relief is often immediate and dramatic. Tension they didn't even realize they were carrying releases from their muscles, chronic headaches fade, and their breathing becomes deeper and more natural. Sleep returns to its restorative function, no longer interrupted by guilt-induced insomnia or anxiety dreams. Their appetite normalizes, and food begins to taste like itself again rather than cardboard or ash. Emotionally, confession opens the floodgates for feelings that have been suppressed or distorted by the energy required to maintain deception. They might experience intense crying, not from sadness but from relief, as if their soul is finally able to express its true state. The emotional numbness that often accompanies long-term guilt begins to lift, allowing them to feel joy, love, and peace again. Mentally, the clarity that comes with confession is profound. The mental fog created by constantly managing lies and half-truths dissipates, allowing their natural intelligence and creativity to flourish again. They find themselves able to focus, make decisions, and engage with complex problems in ways that have become impossible while carrying their secret burden. Spiritually, confession realigns them with their authentic self and their soul's purpose. The disconnection from their higher self that resulted from their actions begins to heal, restoring their access to intuition, wisdom, and spiritual guidance. They often report feeling like themselves again, for the first time since their transgression, as if they've been reunited with a part of themselves they had lost. The journey from guilt to confession to healing represents one of the most profound transformations available to the human spirit. It's a journey from darkness to light, from disconnection to unity, from spiritual poverty to abundance. Those who complete this journey often describe it as being reborn, as if the person who committed the original transgression was a different individual entirely. This transformation affects not only their relationship with you but their relationships with everyone in their life. Having experienced the cost of deception and the freedom of truth, they become champions of authenticity in all their interactions. They develop a deeper compassion for others who struggle with guilt and shame, and often become sources of healing and support for those facing similar challenges. Their relationship with themselves undergoes perhaps the most dramatic change. The self-hatred and disappointment that accompanied their guilt transforms into self-compassion and understanding. They learn to forgive themselves not by minimizing their actions, but by fully acknowledging the harm they caused and taking steps to ensure it never happens again. The experience also deepens their spiritual understanding and connection. Having felt the weight of cosmic justice and the power of divine intervention in their life, they develop a more profound respect for spiritual laws and principles. They often report feeling more connected to the divine, more aware of the interconnectedness of all beings, and more committed to living in alignment with their highest values. Throughout this entire process, you, as the chosen one, play a crucial role that extends far beyond being simply the injured party. You serve as a catalyst for their spiritual growth, a mirror for their authenticity, and ultimately, a gateway to their redemption. Your presence in their life, even if minimal or completely absent physically, continues to influence their spiritual journey in profound ways. Your energy serves as a constant reminder of the standards they failed to meet, not as punishment but as an invitation to rise to their highest potential. Every interaction they have, every decision they make, is filtered through the awareness of how it would appear in the light of your spiritual integrity. This awareness becomes a powerful force for positive change in their character. When they finally do confess, your response, whether it's forgiveness, boundaries, or a combination of both, becomes a crucial part of their healing journey. Your willingness to hear their truth, to acknowledge their courage in coming forward, and to respond from your own place of spiritual strength provides them with a model of how to handle difficult situations with grace and wisdom. The completion of this cycle, their wrongdoing, their suffering, their confession, and your response, often strengthens both of your spiritual paths. You both learn and grow from the experience, though in different ways. They learn about the consequences of deception and the power of truth, while you learn about forgiveness, boundaries, and your own spiritual authority. What emerges from understanding this pattern is a recognition of the sophisticated justice system that operates on spiritual levels, ensuring that wrongdoing cannot be hidden forever and that growth opportunities are available even in the midst of moral failure. This system operates with precision and compassion, applying exactly the right amount of pressure to encourage confession while leaving room for free will and choice. The justice is not punitive in nature but corrective, designed to guide souls back into alignment with their highest good and the good of all beings. It recognizes that everyone makes mistakes but refuses to allow those mistakes to be permanently buried under layers of deception and self-justification. This cosmic system also protects chosen ones from having to carry the burden of others' deceptions indefinitely. By creating conditions that make confession inevitable, it ensures that truth comes to light and that relationships can be based on authentic foundations rather than hidden lies and unspoken resentments. In the end, the divine design ensures that those who wrong a chosen one must confront their actions and come clean. It is a sacred cycle of accountability and growth that honors the chosen one's spiritual power while providing opportunities for the wrongdoer's evolution. Their confession is inevitable, compelled by forces beyond simple human will, a spiritual reckoning designed to bring truth into the open and restore harmony to the cosmic order. This process serves everyone involved. The wrongdoer finds freedom from guilt and realigns with their spiritual path. The chosen one receives acknowledgement of their truth and validation of their spiritual intuition. The universe maintains its commitment to justice and growth, ensuring that love and truth ultimately prevail over deception and harm. When they confess, it is not just their personal truth that is revealed, it is the beginning of a restored connection with you, with themselves, and with the divine. Through this act of courage, both parties become stronger, bound not by the original betrayal but by the shared experience of facing difficulty and choosing growth. This moment marks a transformation from darkness into light, a healing of wounds, a renewal of trust, and a deepening of spiritual understanding. The path may be difficult, marked by struggle and resistance, but it is also inevitable. The forces that compel confession are greater than human stubbornness, more persistent than pride, and more powerful than fear. Truth has its own intelligence, its own timing, and its own way of surfacing when the conditions are right. This is why, if you have been wronged, it's important to hold faith in the cosmic justice system that operates beyond human limitations. The truth will surface like oil rising to the top of water, and the confession will come when their spirit can no longer bear the weight of deception. Their rest will remain disturbed, their energy will stay chaotic, and their path will remain blocked until they step forward and face you with complete honesty. What follows will be challenging but necessary, a chapter of reckoning that serves the highest good of all involved, leading ultimately to healing, growth, and transformation. Because when the universe conspires with a chosen one, even the most carefully guarded secrets and the most stubborn resistance to truth find their way home to the light where they belong.